Well, happy Independence Day, fellow narrow gaugers. So instead of going to a barbecue or meeting with family, reunions or whatever, I'm down here working on the narrow gauge again. And today's project of interest is working on the signals. So just realized I haven't really gone through my idea for how these signals are going to work here on the narrow gauge. So down at this end at Laughlin Junction, everything revolves around this switch and this switch machine. It is a Union Switch and Signal M23 model, electric, dual control electric and hand switch machine. And it will be powering the this switch for our movements. And every time we run the train, we have to throw this switch twice. So we wanted to have it so that you wouldn't have to manually throw it by hand. So as I showed in another video, that you'd get off the train, you'd come over here, push the button, and that would throw the switch. It works, but we want to add the signals to it, and we want to have it so that you only have to momentarily push the button and the switch will throw and you'll get the signals, and then you can be on your way, instead of the kind of manual way we have to do it right now, which is just wired in that way out of convenience. So the home signal here is this H2 dwarf signal, which I put up on a piece of pipe, so it's actually a pedestal signal. It just happens to be the style that works the best right here, because if you're back here in the locomotive cab and you're about right here looking at things, that signal's pointing right at you. Now maybe later I'll put a high signal in, which will be somewhere over in here, then you'd be looking up in here for your indication. But for now, that dwarf will work, and it's something that I have on hand. Over the weekend, we moved the relay case over here into this position, and I've got to wire the switch and the push button back up to it. So a lot of the wiring that we're doing, you'll see we're just running SO cable on the ground, and then there'll be SO cable running through this piece of pipe over here. It's sort of temporary permanent. It's a temporary installation because I know later on I'll be running trenches and running conduit and doing this stuff a little bit better. But right now, we just need to get this up and running. So we'll put the SO cable in, we'll bury it, and work this way for a while. And as time goes on, we'll upgrade. Eventually we'll have concrete foundations for the relay case and for the signals and all that. And, that'll all get scheduled in with other concrete work we have to do. So that's basically what's going on right here. And then up here at this end of Laughlin Junction is this color light signal for coming down the hill. And I just put a ladder on it this morning and decided to give it some aluminum paint. So this will govern movements coming down the hill and will tell you how the switch is lined. It's just going to be a single light for right now. Eventually, I'd like to change this one out with another signal that has two heads, so I can give you a medium clear coming through the switch instead of just a either clear or approach. It's what you get on this now. And I think I'll move it back a little bit and over out of the way, over to the right a little bit. And then over here, we have this three-head dwarf, originally off the C&O, that's been restored. And I have that junction box, which in hindsight, the junction box really should go over with the switch machine because they use that style of junction box. Oh well, I may have to make that change. And do something else here for junction box. Basically, we just have the power wires that come through conduit under the crossing out here, and then there's another conduit you can see over there that's running down that brings the power. But the signal wires, the multi-conductor SO cable, is just basically just going to run next to the conduit and down and then into the signal. Actually, it's already in here, and that's what we're going to use for now. I put a piece of pipe under here to protect it under the track. So another thing that I'm working on here is, I just have this crossing signal set up temporarily. It's kind of on a portable stand. There's a flasher relay in the box. I have to wire that up so that we'll just plug this in and turn it on, and the flasher relay will flash and make the lights go. It's not going to be activated by the train or anything. Basically, when we're open and running, it'll just flash continuously. So that's basically what we're doing here at Laughlin Junction, but is not going to be the end of the signaling on the J&L. There's a better view of those two signals. It actually looks pretty good. That's the first I've seen it with the silver paint on there. It actually looks pretty nice. Okay, we're coming up the hill here. All right, so we have this switch going into the engine facility. Now, this will always be a hand-thrown switch, but it would be nice to have the signals indicate if this switch is lined. So what I want to do here is put a switch circuit controller on this, so that when you throw the switch, the signal that you get down around the bend, when it's a two-headed high signal, will, when you're lined up this way, will give you a restricting. And that will tell you that, okay, you're lined, but be on the lookout because this switch up here is against you. Another signal I want to put in would be sitting about right here. And this will be an intermediate. It'll be an Erie style intermediate, meaning that it'll have the two searchlight heads, but they will be staggered on the pole, one on the left, one on the right. And it'll sit about right here. And so when you're coming down the hill, if you're lined through the switch, this one here will give you an approach medium, yellow over green. If that switch right there is lined against it, it will give you a restricting, which is, maybe I need 3 heads. I don't know. I got to look at my signal indications. Either 2 or 3 head, whatever. We'll figure it out. But basically, we'll have enough heads on the signals to give you the proper signal indications to go through everything that we need to do here. That relay case dead ahead, which I now use for track tools, that's actually 2 cases, will probably get split back up and put back in service for signaling purposes, as I need relay cases in different places. So yeah, will be a searchlight coming down this direction. Now, coming up this way, the latest idea that we have for the track up here, since we only own this 30-foot wide strip back into the woods it ends, and we don't own any other property yet, is to run that siding up the hill, and just beyond where the end of track is now, put a switch and bring them both back together, and then continue the main beyond the switch all the way to our rear property line. So basically making a runaround track here. The idea with that is that as we're running trains, we could go straight up the hill this way and then come back down the other side and then come out onto the main here, which would be, that grade is not going to be nearly as steep. It's actually, you can see where I have it dug down some. It's gonna take a much shallower climb and then reach the top of the hill right at where the switch is at. So you make the 6% grade here, and then maybe 4% coming down the other side. And then I'd also like to put signals here. Put a high signal here, and a dwarf, and a high signal for that end. So instead of it being a siding, we'll consider it, a 300-foot long section of double track for signaling purposes. And doing that so that, when you get up the hill, then you can throw both switches and you come down, and then whoever's riding a train can see that, your signal indications change and how all that works out. And plus, if we run 2 trains, we can run one up and have one waiting for the other one. And, we can have, say the passenger train, and then maybe the Brookville will be coming up with a couple of freight cars as a freight train that we could also run here. So that means additional signals are needed, 2 more switch machines, more conduit wiring. I mean, this would be a kind of a longer term project doing this, but it's something that, we can do as time goes on. And so I've been looking for, equipment and materials and all that to do this. What I would like to see for the signals here is for all of this to follow either Erie Railroad or Pittsburgh and Lake Erie Railroad practice, meaning searchlight signals, the Union Switch and Signal brand equipment that I want to use, the types of relay cases, all that following either Erie or P&LE design. They're a personal favorite railroad of mine, both of them. And I grew up here in Hubbard, where the Erie Main came through, and with searchlight signals and all the specific types of cases and all that the Erie used. And I would just like to to do that here on this railroad. I also, it wouldn't look right having B&O heads or Pennsylvania Railroad signal heads here, because they're just so massive. A Pennsy signal head is bigger in diameter than 58 is wide, practically. They're just so out of scale for 2-foot gauge. But searchlight signals, I think, would work all right. So that's kind of my vision for doing some signaling here on the J&L. Of course, one of the big issues, aside from time and money, is finding this stuff. It's getting hard to find the old school Union Switch and Signal components anymore. You have to basically, collectors have some stuff, and some rail museums may have something sitting out back behind the museum that they may be persuaded to sell or trade away. So it's a matter of finding the stuff and then making the deals and then getting it moved in here. And of course, everything's so much more expensive than it was 6 months ago, unnecessarily. It's making it even more difficult to try to get this done. But we're going to do it. So, yeah, imagine one day there being a second main coming down there and then tying back in. What would look absolutely stunning here is an Erie cantilever signal. It wouldn't be too big in this position because we're coming downhill, and you always want a higher signal when you're going downhill than if you're coming uphill. So I think a cantilever would just look absolutely stunning right here with the searchlights on both sides. Okay, yeah, Rick's been out in the sun for too long today. But hey, if somebody can find a cantilever signal that is looking for a home, right there, get in touch. We'll figure it out some way. If you want to see something preserved and actually used in train service again, yeah, we're going to do this. So, yeah, up here, this track's going to swing over to the right a little bit. Those trees with the X's on them are going away. Then I can swing the track over to the right. The big tree there is going to stay. And then this track will just go back another couple 100 feet to the end. But right back in here is where I'd put that other end of the switch. or the other end of the siding. The switch would go somewhere right in here. And then, you know, we take this, and you can see this track kind of goes uphill a little bit before it goes down. The other track will just come out, and I'm going to drop the grade a little bit and go right through where that clump of trees is at, and then just start heading downhill right here. So we get a much, not nearly as big of a grade as the main has. And, you know, until we can extend the railroad a little bit more, so you just come up here, stop, throw the switch, and down the hill we go on the other side. I think we're probably still going to do a push-pull arrangement. If at some point we get a passing siding to put out there at the station, which is not out of the realm of possibility, it would actually add a little bit of additional operating interest if we pulled the train up and then ran around it and came up and tied on and then pulled it back down the hill and then shoved into the station and then ran around it again and then shoved out and then pulled up the hill. You give the riders a little something to see. Until all that track gets put in, it's just going to be push and pull. So, all right, and the last thing, this is sad looking here. We haven't had any rain here in a while. It seems like all the rain keeps going around us. And we're supposed to be getting some more rain, thunderstorms tomorrow and Wednesday. I hope so, because look how low our reservoir is. And we're running this weekend, and, well, we need water. So if things don't improve here, I've got to go to plan B, which is bringing totes of water over from my well at home, which I would rather avoid doing that, because I live in a place called Kohlberg, and our well basically goes into an old coal mine, so you know how acidic and hard the water is there. It's not particularly good for the boiler, but it is plan B if I can't get enough water. But then that also brings me to the long range plan of bringing the 8,000 gallon tank car, setting it up here, and then filling the tank car during the rainy season, and then using the water this time of year when it gets dry. And of course, I knew in the middle of summer we aren't going to have a lot of rain, and this little creek only runs as water runoff from rainstorms. So we'll get that problem solved. Not too worried about it. We will be operating this weekend. It's the 9th and 10th of July, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. both days. If you're anywhere in the Youngstown area, come on out and take a ride on the J&L narrow gauge. All right, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your 4th of July.